Hi, and welcome to Trà Time with UVSA Ontario, where we sit down and we talk about the Vietnamese culture and Vietnamese lifestyle. So my name is Tiffany and I'm the External Vice President.
And I'm Jennifer and I'm one of the co-presidents.
And my name is Will and I'm the Vice President of Finances.
And today's topic is about how we navigate through our dual identity as a Vietnamese Canadian. A good question.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the go-to answer is that, I didn't want to be Vietnamese ever, but I think I've always loved being Vietnamese, and I think I have my parents to thank for that. They sent me to Vietnamese school. They really love being Vietnamese, and so for me, I just didn't understand why other people didn't really accept that. In that they would always ask me what I had in my lunch, and they would just slowly back away. I just didn't understand. It wasn't that I didn't. I think that was the primary struggle. It's trying to explain how important it was to me, even though I was so young.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think I can really relate to that too, especially because when you're attending school and it's just you have kind of an identity crisis when you're at home and when you're at school. For me, it was out of love for my parents. I love my Vietnamese identity. I loved learning about Vietnamese culture, eating Vietnamese food, speaking Vietnamese to my parents and family. But then when I'm at school, it's kind of I have to change that to kind of conform to other people who may not be Vietnamese, my other friends who may not be accustomed to the culture. So for me, it was just I wasn't sure who I really was because I kept switching on and off, and it was just I didn't really feel confident in that one part because I kept switching. So it's just who am I and what is life,
Yeah, I definitely resonate with what you were saying. At home, I try to be as Vietnamese as possible, but at school, ate sandwiches. I didn't speak Viet at all. I remember one time growing up, my brother called me Chi, and then my neighbors made fun of we're why, who are you calling? And yeah, they were you should speak English here because everyone else does. And since then, he has never called me that anymore. And yeah, I just never found a reason to being Vietnamese because there's never a great thing. Everyone talks about how great it is to be Chinese or Japanese or Korean. There's great media presence in those Asian countries, but what does Vietnam have to offer? Especially when we were growing up, everything anyone ever talked about was the war. And as a child, how can you relate to something of that magnitude? I guess I kind of realized or reconnected with my roots through VSA. So when I went off to university, I accidentally found the Vietnamese Student Association, and they really took me in. And being around people who love being Vietnamese so much, you kind of, I don't know, I just felt I really belong, and they made me remember or realize all the great things about being Vietnamese and about the culture that I missed growing up because my parents worked a lot, so it's not I was surrounded by the culture, lifestyle.
For me, it was I had school from Monday to Friday, and then Saturday was Vietnamese school. So I think I found that balance. When I was younger, I didn't really understand it, but as I grew older, middle school, high school, I found friends there that spoke Vietnamese, right? So it wasn't just at school, outside of school, at a different school. Yeah, there was also that aspect, and I'm still really good friends with them today. So I think just having that balance between the two, where you have peers in which you can relate and maybe explore other, even if they weren't Vietnamese, you could explore other cultures, was really important to me. I think it was just balance for me.
I feel for me, there was a lot of phases growing up where I felt I finally was able to consolidate my identity as a Vietnamese youth growing up, but then I felt it was kind of an up and down kind of thing. For me, I don't know if you guys remember, but remember that grade 6 and 7 phase where you were oh, Asian pride, AZN.
Yeah.
Asian
baby girl.
Exactly. So it's just
all
I
our
wasn't.
Hotmails.
Yeah, basically
Wag.
And then Lil Taro bubble tea at hotmail.com.
Yeah.
I feel that phase when I was surrounded by Asian people and Asian friends, I was really able to consolidate my identity as a person of Asian descent. But then I feel as I grew up and puberty and high school and all that, it's just oh, cringe, that's let's just be normal now. But yeah, I feel like for me, like it all started recently when I finally like feel like I've actually like have an understanding of who I am now. And it's to build off a lot of what Jen said too, like just meeting VSAs and meeting people that like have the same mindset. It's just learning a lot from them. For me, like I would say the main thing that kind of like opened my mind up about like Vietnamese culture was actually like the Ao Dai, because before I joined VSA, like someone in the community actually asked me to do Ao Dai modeling, and like I was like, oh no, like Ao Dai, like that's for girls, like I'm not gonna wear that, that's like something you wear in Vietnam at weddings and stuff. So it wasn't something I was really into. But you know, like Vietnamese people, and they're very stubborn, so I couldn't get off hook for that. I ended up having to do it. And actually like it opened my eyes a lot, because I felt like I learned so much more about our culture and the history behind it, and so much of the traditions. And something so simple as the Ao Dai, which is just like a garment, there's so much history and so much cultural significance associated with it. So it's just like, I was able to realize that, and it really opened my mind. It really opened up my mind about Vietnamese culture. And then after I joined VSA, I felt like I already had the foundation, and it just helped me like re-emphasize that and like build on top of it.
Especially with working with youth now, right? Like people your own age.
Right. For sure. And like they go through the same struggles, so it's just hearing like their story and hearing how like they grew from it really helps a lot to handle like your own like situation.
And it was really nice to realize that the struggles I had growing up were not alone. Like I wasn't alone. I wasn't isolated in these struggles. Like other people went through the same thing. And it's also just really nice to be able to joke in a different language to other people, and they understand. You know.
Oh yes.
And I feel like every day that like passed by, I feel like it's getting better and better. Especially like just like there's more opportunities available for youth, especially now that like people are like of like our generation, and like just the youth are getting older, and they realize that like they want to give back to the community and help a lot of other people. So they're creating a lot more opportunities for even younger people, you know, like teenagers, like people much younger than us are already getting involved, but like a lot of opportunities. So it's nice to see that like the problems we had seem to be not as bad.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's like two different roles, and do they ever mesh? Now they do, but before it was a little more separated. Yeah. I used to like whine all the time about going to Vietnamese school.
I still do.
Right, like and I didn't understand, but yeah.
In retrospect, right?
Yeah. And now, I have friendships. I have the language, like so yeah, I'm really grateful for that, and hopefully, like we can pass all that on. Yeah.
For me, it actually happened really recently. So this November, I actually I co-chaired an Ao Dai gala, and it was the first time I really saw like something that I saw the potential that I had as a Vietnamese youth in creating such an impact, because it was not only to raise cultural awareness about the Ao Dai and the history behind the Ao Dai, but also it contributed to a greater cause, which was human trafficking. So I felt like there's a lot of things you can do as a youth. Everyone has their potential, and everyone has just has to unlock it, has to discover it for themselves. So for me, I felt like, again, the Ao Dai was like the main entryway for me to kind of discover who I am. I know it sounds kind of cheesy. I don't own that many Ao Dais, but like still, like it actually, like it helped a lot, and it was something so small. So I feel like everyone just has to kind of look for that little small thing that like they love so much and they're so passionate about, and it'll open like plenty of opportunities. It opens so many doors. So I just feel like as a youth, like don't like underestimate yourself. I feel like everyone has their own potential, everyone has their own opportunities. So just like be open-minded, be passionate, and just keep looking, kind of thing.
That's really inspiring, Will. Wow. You are very well spoken. For me, let's see, I kind of started appreciating and wanted to do more for the community when I started researching about like the Vietnamese situation outside of Canada. So I was an intern for Senator Ngo. I think it was in 2014, so that was like 4 years ago. But it was my first year of university, and so I had like graduated from Vietnamese school, and I was like, I don't know how to stay involved. Like there's so many more people at university, and I didn't really seem to have any Vietnamese friends. So I applied for this internship, I got it, and I when we started researching about like the judicial system, human trafficking, a lot of heavy material, I think that's when I realized how big of a sacrifice our parents and our grandparents had to actually come all this way and give us
For sure.
everything that they never had. They never had. And so personally, I felt like it was like my personal responsibility to keep that culture alive because they came so far, and I wanted to really honor that. And so that made me really proud to be Vietnamese because, and it wasn't just my parents, like I think I have a limited perspective, like your parents or like your families probably have millions of different versions of stories of coming here. I don't know, I felt so much pride in wanting to honor all those stories and wanting to continue that. And so that's, yeah, without that internship, I don't think I'd be here today, being so proud and being so willing to like give back.
Oh, that's really big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely my story is nothing as big as what you guys talked about. It's something really
That's
small.
okay. I think, yeah, it's the little things that spark it, right?
Honestly, for me, it was the Ignite Culture show when I first joined VSA in first year. It was my first time going to any Vietnamese related show ever, and being able to act in it and like invoke or include Vietnamese culture, Vietnamese language was really new to me. And seeing that other schools, like other Vietnamese Canadian youth, were also doing the same thing. I don't know, just like that was like really inspiring to me to see so many people love the Vietnamese culture so much that they get so much time doing it, because we practice for months on end for many hours. And you don't just do those things because you have to, you do it because you're passionate about it. And then that kind of led me to being co-cultural chair of culture and heritage at my local VSA. And it was kind of like from there and then on, like I wanted to do more and more with the Vietnamese culture. And yeah, so it's just a small thing, but I'm still here, so.
Yeah, no, that's great. Ignite was like, would have been my second choice. I think it's something different because the Ignite show is like you're, I guess, competing against other schools, but also like working in collaboration to make a successful show. And there's something about just like people applauding and like actually
like appreciating your effort and your perspective on the culture. Because the people who do come out are typically parents.
Yeah, they're older and they're like watching these younger kids.
And I feel like just like working on the team and like performing as well, like it's great to see the team progress and the teamwork that goes into it, because not everyone that participates in Ignite is like someone who knows a lot about Vietnamese culture. There's a lot of people who like, you know, for example, live in Alberta where there's like not many Vietnamese people. They've never encountered another Vietnamese person in their life. They like don't eat Vietnamese food. They don't know Vietnamese. Like, or some people who like, they aren't even Vietnamese, they participate in the show, right? So it's just so great to see like how much people kind of like develop. I find that so interesting because just reflecting back on like when we first started and then when we perform on that like, final stage, it's just a lot of like blood, sweat and tears, but at the same time like so much passion that you see within the students, within the youth.
Yeah, the people like this, the VSAs are definitely very passionate about Ignite. Yeah, and even though we are competing, it's about coming together too. I think that's the big thing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's just so inspiring to see like different people coming together. Everyone has like their own life story, their own meaning of what it means to be a Vietnamese Canadian, and them all coming together into like one diverse, coherent force. Even as UVSA Ontario, right? As one of our pillars is like unity. I think, yeah, it's so inspiring to see that. So thank you for listening, guys. We hope you enjoyed our Trà Time with UVSA Ontario. If you have any questions that you would like us to answer, please contact us and we would be happy to take a look. But otherwise, thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time on Trà Time with UVSA Ontario.
Bye!